Hey everyone, it's Kothis, and today I wanted to go over Season of the Seraph / the Witch Queen year in review. How did we do? What are some high points, some low points? Mainly going into Season of the Seraph, but I wanted to make this video just to kind of share my thoughts as we head into Lightfall in just a couple weeks. So just like my last video like this, my Season 18 recap, this is going to be mainly an audio-based experience. I might include some clips that are relevant to what I'm talking about, kind of spliced here and there, but mainly just going to be like Grandmaster gameplay or maybe some heist stuff. But sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee or something like that, and let's dive into the content. Let's see how we did. Starting off with Season of the Seraph, which in my and many others' opinion is the best season yet. Although a lot of the core mechanics remained the same to other seasons, Season of the Seraph made a lot of the annoying and painful stuff, well, less painful and annoying. The hype is high, Lightfall is only one season away, DSC weapons are back. It was good. All until the API went down entirely right at the beginning of the season and alongside the launch of a brand new dungeon, Spire of the Watcher. Unfortunately, what should have been one of the best times of the year to be playing Destiny was one of the most frustrating times to play it. Error codes, server issues, this was a rough point, and I really think it halted a lot of momentum that Destiny had. Fast forward a bit and the API was brought back online, now we could at least access DIM and things seem to be looking up. But unfortunately, it was not the case. This season really showed the technical limitations that the sheer mass of this game has on its stability. In the Lightfall reveal, they did say that Destiny 2 will be around for many, many years to come and that they'd be performing engine upgrades regularly to keep it up to modern standards, so that has me somewhat hopeful. Maybe after the Final Shape expansion's over with, the game will go offline for a few days, kind of like Fortnite did after its first major chapter, so they can do some of those huge overhauls. But let's get back on topic. Season of the Seraph. I'll review the gameplay loop first. This was way, way better than Season of Plunder's Catch Crash, Expeditions, and unnecessarily confusing currency management that we had all season. A lot of it was simplified. We had a fun and engaging activity with Heist Battlegrounds. It was really cool because it put that power cap on us, so we were always slightly under power going into each mission, which is much better than just mindlessly steamrolling over everything in our path. I'll admit I'm a bit burnt out of the currencies like key codes and stuff where we stack them from other activities and then bring them into the seasonal activity to unlock the chest at the end, but this thankfully will be changed next season. And Umbral Engrams and seasonal Umbral Energy are also thankfully getting removed from the game entirely and will be brought back with a more simpler and streamlined system in Season 20 with Lightfall. At least the upgrade system was a bit less grindy and more rewarding in my opinion this season. These weapons were the easiest to craft of all the seasons this year in my opinion, and the daily refresh of red borders made a lot of people happy as well. So many people in my Discord started to push for a lot of these crafted weapons once they realized they could just go and pick one per day. So Heist Battlegrounds, thumbs up. The operations were kind of a hit or miss, but they felt more impactful to the story than the pirate hideouts did from last season. The story had good pacing and the threat really feels imminent now, like we're really going up against some big stuff. Operation Seraph Shield was the exotic mission of the season and I really liked it. It was a lot better than Vox Obscura from Season of the Risen, for sure. Seraph Shield was at least fun to replay, and the Legend Solo Flawless for me was just genuinely stressful, but I really liked it. Something cool is that challenge is a primary focus for Destiny next year, according to a recent blog post, which I'm personally hyped for. But anyway, Revision 0, obviously the exotic from this Operation Seraph Shield mission, and I really like this weapon. I've racked up almost 500 kills on mine in Crucible, and I don't even like playing Crucible that much. The customization this weapon brought made it really feel exotic. I hope that this is a sign of more stuff to come like this in Lightfall. Spire of the Watcher, the new Tex Mechanica loot-themed dungeon launched towards the beginning of the season, and as mentioned was extremely buggy on day one. It took my team and I over 6 hours just to be able to complete it because for at least 4 of those hours we were getting booted from the activity and error coded left and right. But the actual dungeon itself is, as usual, a knockout of the park experience. Dungeons are awesome in general, and if you don't run them, you really should. Spire's main mechanic is just really satisfying to me for some reason. It's just something about linking up those wires is just therapeutic or something, I guess. I don't know. Most people run this dungeon for the armor though, and not the weapons, which is not usually the case. I'm really not a fan of any of these weapons. I've like never used any of them, but the cowboy theme set is really nice, and a lot of people grinded it strictly for the cowboy hats. Some people are still looking for it because it has such a low drop rate. But anyway, Spire, again, thumbs up from me. I'm around 20 clears in now, and I still look forward to running it anytime someone asks. Season 19 also brought the Deepstone Crypts weapons up to current standards and with a new origin trait, and also made them craftable. I know a lot of people don't like when old content is made regrindable for reprise loot, but I actually kind of like it, as long as there's enough time in between it being obsolete and then being reprised. I was not a fan of Dares of Eternity's 8-month turnaround on its weapons. That was not cool. But I do love Deepstone Crypt anyway, so I was just really happy to go back and grind it out again. However, for like the first 6 weeks, getting even one red border for these felt like it was more rare than getting Galahorn in year 1 of Destiny 1. They just weren't dropping for anybody. Stu, who's one of my moderators in my Discord, went 8 Deepstone Crypts without a single red border, so he had to rely on getting just 1 per week from the chest at the end. Thankfully, this was fixed. You should be getting more now, unless you're Stu, who just still never gets any. But let's talk about the Dawning next. I thought this was the best event of the year. Loot was generous, it didn't require a specific playlist to run 10,000 times, and I mean, just look at that tower, it's glorious. The weapons from most events seem to usually not be like S-tier amazing weapons that you need right now, and that was definitely still the case with these Dawning weapons. They had some new traits, along with a new origin trait, but it wasn't enough for me to use any of these really after the Dawning. But throwing snowballs and just appreciating the Christmas vibe everywhere is just something that I really enjoy, and I look forward to it every year, so I really did like the Dawning. All these activities are great, but what loot do they contain? Was it all worth it? In my opinion, yeah. We had some great weapons this season. The Ikelos SMG, to no one's surprise, is in my opinion the MVP of the season, but we had others like the Path of Least Resistance, Retrofit Escapade, Heritage, Succession, Posterity, Trusty, and even more. I know there's others in there. These were just my favorites. With how easy it was to get red borders this season for all of these seasonal weapons, and with how good these weapons were, I think it was a great experience considering the current form of the game before all these overhauls come into effect next season. Hopefully you all were able to get some of these really good weapons from the season before they go away. If not, you still have some time left, so go do it. We'll finish up the Season of the Seraph section with some quality of life changes that I think were much needed. We got a Crucible ranked PvP system with a new title and everything. It really hasn't motivated me to play more Crucible, but it's at least a more understandable system. We just desperately need some armor cosmetics now, and I really think the system would be great. Shaxx got the Vendor 3.0 overhaul as well, full with Crucible engram focusing, making it very easy to just target the exact weapons you want. Iron Banner got some updates too, with the new game mode this season being Fortress, or Bubble Titans everywhere. Yeah, this game mode single-handedly got Titans nerfed for next season, so it wasn't the most fun. But at least we got a pretty significant XP boost to our Iron Banner rep gains, making it a lot easier to get that unique chainmail shader. Hopefully you're able to get that. And probably the biggest and most surprising change was how Bungie gave every non-raid mod just free to everybody. The last leg of the season was great for new players just to be able to experience new builds the way that long-term players have experienced them for a while now. Too many times did I have to tell a new player, just go check Ada every day, wait till she has it. Thankfully, that's no longer the case. Everyone has every mod now, it's very easy to make builds, and I think going into Lightfall, the system is going to continue to remain pretty awesome. There were some other balance changes and such here and there too, but I don't want this to drag on forever. Those were the main notable changes that I could remember. And now let's do a quick recap of the year. How did we do? Starting off with Season 16's Season of the Risen, the hype was high. Witch Queen had over 1 million pre-orders, which I believe was the record, and it still might be actually. Void 3.0 was starting off our year of light subclass overhauls, which gave us a lot to look forward to. We had a new Become Legend campaign for the first time, weapon crafting, a new weapon type with the glaive, a massive new zone with the Throne World, the new Valve the Disciple raid, Psyops battlegrounds, exotic missions. Yeah, it was a big expansion. Season of the Risen though didn't have all of these things. Taking the season by itself, we really didn't have a lot to do. The war table was just another Helm node upgrade tree like we've always had, Psyops didn't feel new, and the whole story was kind of forgettable. The Risen story, that is, not the Witch Queen campaign. Witch Queen campaign is amazing. Once people got over the Void 3.0 hype, they did the campaign, maybe got a few Val clears, and once Elden Ring came out, it was not enough to keep playing Destiny 2 all the time. Overall, not the strongest season in my opinion, it was just not enough to keep our attention. Season of the Haunted next, the season we got Solar 3.0. If Void 3.0 felt really strong in the beginning, Solar 3.0 felt like you were a god. Loreley Titans just couldn't die. Don't get me wrong, they're still really strong, probably too strong, but in Solar 3.0's earlier days, it really was godlike. I will say that Solar 3.0 was what got me off of my Elden Ring and Dark Souls binge, and the story hooked me too. Zavala, Crow, and Keitel dealing with all their nightmares of the past was a really interesting story, and Nightmare Containment and really everything else that the Leviathan brought was really cool. Plus, we got the Callus mini tool, so automatically a great season, right? Season 17 also brought us the Duality Dungeon, which when it doesn't kill you when you're ringing the bells, is actually a really fun dungeon with a really awesome aesthetic. So, Season of the Haunted, great season in my book, big fan. Season of Plunder. Yeah, not a great season here other than King's Fall and how Arc 3.0 came with it. These two things actually carried the season. If it wasn't for King's Fall, I think even more people would have left the game than already did. The population dipped to its lowest point in years, and a lot of us were really worried about the future. Being as I just started making YouTube videos like pretty much right when Season of Plunder started, it was kind of discouraging seeing like no one playing the game, but I pushed through, and you know what, we're here today and I'm having fun. But yeah, Catch Crash Expeditions, not fun at all. The loot was not great either, besides maybe a few guns, and the overall gameplay loop just felt extremely unsatisfying. I will say that Arc 3.0 brought the most fun and probably overpowered Titan build ever, which has since been toned down a bit, but it's still really good and it's still one of my favorites to play. All of the Arc 3.0 reworks were really good in my opinion. Amplify is a great buff, and just rounding out the year with everything being brought up to 3.0 standards made it all feel cohesive and streamlined. But I can't stress enough how much I despise this season. I hope that we don't have a season like this for a long time, and crossing my fingers, but I'm hoping we never have a season like this ever again. And we already talked about Season of the Seraph, so I'm not going to cover it again, but my rankings here from worst to best would be Plunder, Risen, Haunted, then Seraph. And the year as a whole, I'd say compared to other years, brought us more content that we've ever seen before, even if it might not be the exact content we've all been wanting or asking for, but complete overhauls to every light subclass, 2 new raids, 1 raid with reprised weapons, 2 dungeons, weapon crafting, more weapons and armor than we've ever seen. This was a huge year. I think the majority of us are just tired of the same repetitive seasonal content, the power level grind, and the Helm upgrade trees, which at least 2 of these will be addressed in the next year, with both the Pinnacle grind and Helm upgrades being removed entirely, potentially in Season 22. Well, everyone, that is all I've got for the season/year recap. Did I miss anything? Let me know down in the comments because, yeah, I probably did. Also, let me know if you agree or disagree with any of my points here. I'm actually pretty curious to see what you all think. I'm very excited for Lightfall, for Strand, and for this next year of content creation. We're just getting started, everyone, and I thank you so much for being on this journey with me. All right, guys, I will see you in the next video.